I'm DJ Lady Jock. That is G Wiz. We are traveling my way from 88.1 KDXX FM St. Louis, and we have with us today Mr. Tom Browne.
He is an ordinary guy. What's
I
up?
love it. What's happening? Oh,
Feeling good.
wow. Oh, man. You won't believe before I get in this interview who we interviewed yesterday.
Who's that?
And he mentioned you.
I gotten out of jail since then. I mean, I don't know. You can't hold that against me.
That's what he told us.
Yeah, you can't hold yesterday's news against me. I mean, that's
He bailed you out.
exactly.
It was Mr. Najee.
Oh, okay. My man.
Yeah, he talked very highly of you.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we got him tomorrow, which is today. So, oh boy. So we're gonna get this started. We don't want to hold up your time, but I just appreciate it. Mr. Tom Browne, tell us where you're born and raised at.
Out of Jamaica, just like Najee, out of Jamaica, New York. Jamaica, Queens, New York City.
Ooh, Queens is where is it? I mean, you got your DJs, your rappers from there. Ooh,
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So you started playing piano at a very young age before you actually shift over to the trumpet. How did you get into the piano?
I knew I wanted to do music or be involved in music, but I didn't know in what context. So I just went through some trial phases, and I went through piano and bugle, and I something about the trumpet just called me. And my dad played trumpet, although by the time I knew that, he had given it up after the war, after World War II. But I just felt called to the instrument for some reason, and so here I am with it.
Do you still play the piano?
No, I tinker on it. I mean, I played enough to write songs on it, but don't ask me to perform or anything like that. That's just not me. I mean, unless you want another, Chris Rock moment, then I could perform on it.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you go to school? I mean, did you learn? Well, you say you learned from your father. Learned the instruments and everything else. What did you go to a music school? What school? The arts school?
I went to music and art high school. If folks have seen the movie Fame, that it was music and arts and the sister school performing arts. But most of what I learned, definitely jazz wise, most of what I learned just by hanging out, and learned by in that era, being in Jamaica, New York, there were just so many great players. You just learned by going out into the clubs and hanging out, and learning from the masters, basically.
So how did you get into jazz? And then who inspired you? What are some of your inspired artists from the jazz scene?
From jazz, definitely Dizzy Gillespie, Clifford Brown, Lee Morgan. Freddie Hubbard is my all-time great. I'm a fan of his. I started out as a classical trumpet player. I got a scholarship to study with a gentleman named Murray Karpolowski, who has long since passed on. He was the principal player from the NBC Orchestra under Toscanini. But I got into jazz when I was in my first year of college. And a friend of mine introduced me to an Ornette Coleman record. Well, Ornette Coleman is about as left field, outside jazz as you can get. It's like the equivalent of an artist who throws paint up against the jet engine and just lets it land wherever it lands. Right. That's the kind of music it was. And so I rebelled against that and said, no, that ain't for me. But it caused me to listen to some of the greats. It caused me to go back and listen to Dizzy Gillespie and Clifford, and I just fell in love with it. I just fell in love with their precision and the swing, and I just got into it from there.
Okay. So what you major in college?
I majored in science, physical science.
Oh, Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Was
Didn't
music
didn't
a
didn't you didn't really use it that much, but that's what I majored in.
okay? So was music the minor or nah? It's
Music was my basketball. Music was the equivalent of my cool out. Music is what I did when I finished school, and the other friends of mine were going out and playing ball and playing football and baseball. I'd go up and play the trumpet. Um, it was never supposed to be a career. It was supposed to be a hobby.
mhm.
Somehow it got turned around. I just got offered a record deal and it got turned around. And I just said, oh, well, okay. I just went with it from there.
Wow. So okay, we mastered the piano, and you threw that out, and we got this trumpet. So we got all this mastered down. So where did you get discovered? Were you playing places or jazz
Yeah.
club scene? So
Yeah. I was sitting in a lot of clubs in the early 70s and mid 70s.
mhm.
Uh, I ended up playing with a couple of jazz greats, Sonny Fortune, a great jazz alto saxophonist, and Weldon Irvine, who wrote Young, Gifted, and Black for Nina Simone, and
Yes.
Mr. Clean for Freddie Hubbard. Uh, and I ended up playing with Dr. Lonnie Smith, who just recently passed away, a jazz organist, not Lonnie Liston Smith, Dr.
Right.
Lonnie Smith.
Yes.
And we played at a club uptown New York called Breeze and Lounge. This was like 1977 or somewhere around there, 78.
Mhm.
And I should have known from the name of the club, Breeze and Lounge, I should have known what it was about, but I didn't make the connection. Turned out it was owned by George Benson's first manager.
Oh wow.
Um, and so a lot of record execs would come in there and just frequent the venue, and I ended up just getting offered a couple of record deals just from playing there. I got offered a deal with Columbia, with Warner, CTI, and we ended up going with a new company called GRP
Mhm.
because it just seemed the right fit for us
Right.
at the time.
So did you used to play with the Fatback Band
I
as
I
well?
I did. I did some
Ah,
recordings with. I wasn't part of the band, but I did some recordings with them. I
oh,
remember I did
okay.
an album called "Man with the Band" for
Okay.
Fatback.
Wow. So you wasn't on those big hits like what's that backstroke and
No,
that was okay, that was 80s, I think. Was that 80s?
but that was my neighborhood. I mean,
That was
that was Linden Boulevard, Jamaica. Yes, ma'am. Jamaica.
So you said you was on all these record companies. So that's you was on Arsta with what's that, Mr. Clyde Davis?
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well, that was through GRP.
Arista.
GRP was distributed on Arista.
Hmm.
And then when I got my first two hits, Jamaica Funk and Thighs High, Arista just took me over directly. They said, "Hey, man, we don't want GRP making this money. We want to make that money ourselves." And I said, right on, right on, right on. And so I ended up going Arista direct after that.
The late Miss Tony Smith. Oh
Yeah.
my God. So how many singles did she work with you on?
She worked with me on most of my early stuff on GRP Arista.
Okay.
The thing about Tony, and especially about that song, is it came out right in the time where Shaka didn't have anything out. And so,
Mm,
everyone said, "Oh, that's Shaka's new single." They thought, Shaka Khan, Jamaica Funk. And there's a story behind that, because Shaka, actually, she heard it. She said, "When did I do this song?" For the longest, she thought I must have done this song back somewhere. Tony was just like that. She was a gem.
it's funny you said that because I thought it was Shaka too coming up as a kid. Because I
Yeah,
mean, huge Shaka fan since a kid. So
yeah.
wow. Oh wow. So it was Miss Tony Smith. Man, her
Mm.
voice was amazing. And she's,
Oh yeah.
rest her soul. Yes. Then we move on to this one. When
You
you
see
mentioned
now,
I
now
see,
that see that cover right there, that
yep.
cover almost caused the demise of me. Uh,
Uh-oh.
I,
Uh-oh.
I had to have that cover airbrushed so that my wife could say, "Okay, you can come home tonight." you know, I'm trying to hold it together in front of these two ladies on that cover, and my wife's in the studio. She's looking at me right in the face, going, and You
But
know,
you know you all cool with it. You know you got your you just cool with it on that. So it's like I'm innocent. I ain't did nothing. I'm innocent.
yeah. That's called survival mode.
Man, we still these are still hot commodities today.
Mm.
I swear. And but you had I mean you had some amazing hits, and then now you're doing like all this jazz stuff now. So tell us about these new projects you got going, because the one you just sent me. Oh, I gotta tell you a little story on that
Oh, well, that's okay. Well, that's by that one I just sent you. That's by my main man, who's got like 18 or 20 number one, Chris the big dog Davis,
one. Okay.
he's got a bunch of smooth jazz hits out right now.
Okay.
But radio used to be it's like you were saying, you could hear the Commodores right behind Grover Washington, right behind it wasn't so much it was just this is good music. This is good music. And that's how it used to be. That's how I grew up. That's what I still remember. It wasn't as like put in so much compartments as it is today. So there was just a lot more flexibility and a lot more flowing beauty in the music, back then. Because there's a need in the soul for what you're saying and what you're doing.
And I got soul.
Amen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Tom, tell me, when did you be a pilot? You pilot?
Well, that's why the physical science, because that's actually
Okay.
that's what I was going for. That's I wanted to, from the time I was young. I grew up right under the departure path for LaGuardia and Kennedy in Queens. So I mean, from the time I was young, I just saw airplanes going over, and I just wanted to do that. Music was always going to be like a hobby, a cool out, and my career was going to be flying. But when the record contract came along, and I crunched the numbers and everything, said, well, hey, I could kind of make a living at this, and so I ended up going with music. But I never lost the desire to fly, and so here I am. I'm 67 years old. I retired from the airlines. I'm still flying for a charter company. I mean, I just love doing it. Just love doing it.
Congratulations to you. That's wow.
Thank you.
Wow. You'll be a pilot, and then you could go back to your music. See, that's
Well,
awesome.
the problem is juggling two things and trying to make it work. So I've always found companies like this company I'm with now. I've got 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and that's perfect. During those 2 weeks off, I could tour, I could record, I could do whatever I want to do. I better give my wife some time.
That's right.
That's right. Because otherwise I'm going to have 4 weeks on and no weeks off. But it just works out. It works out great.
Awesome. So let's talk about this new single, because I didn't know you got a little help from Jeanette Harris.
Oh yeah, Jeanette is bad. Jeanette's a bad girl, boy. Huh?
Her and Althea Renee.
Oh, Althea's there too?
Yes.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to come out that way.
Yes,
Lord.
sir. So talk about this CD, this song, man. How you and Jeanette connect?
Jeanette and I did a couple of gigs out in California.
Okay.
And the trumpet saxophone vibe has always been, going back, to days of old. And Jeanette and I, we tried it on a couple of gigs and just connected. I mean, it worked well with the audience. People dug it. And so I said, why not do a track that we could actually turn around and tour off of? And then Jeanette agreed to do that. I told her I'd be happy to play on anything she has, and so there you go. I mean, it came out great. It's called Radio Vibe.
When I saw it on your Facebook page, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then Mike is her manager. I'm like, Mike, wait a minute, Jeanette. I'm like, Jeanette did this, and he was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh man. I'm like, this is two of my favorites.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna try to make that.
Ooh-wee. I'm gonna hold you to it. I
Of course,
know.
that means all my wifely to-do list that's going to be having done Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I just increased my workload tenfold, but that's all right.
No,
I'll figure that.
bring wife with you.
Yeah, I
Bring
could do
with you.
that. I could do that.
Bring her with you.
I could do that.
Because who's to say? You might bring the trumpet, man. Y'all might do the
Oh,
song.
half trumpet will try. I don't go nowhere without my trumpet.
Oh,
That's my alter ego. I mean,
Wiz.
if my hair ain't right, the trumpet might peek out from the side of the stage before I do. So that's my alter ego right there. I gotta carry the trumpet.
Oh man, Wiz, you hear this? We might see Tom Saturday. We might not. What you think?
It's a 50-50.
Okay. We'll take
Yeah,
the 50-50.
I'm feeling more like 75-25.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
So if he feeling 75-25, then
Okay.
it don't mean nothing until the wife finds out. Then it goes back to 50-50.
Well,
that man right there understands completely. Yes, sir. I may start a whole political feedback going on here from listeners, but I'm gonna be honest with you. That's one of the problems that's happening right now. Is people are really upset about this whole wokeism thing, but that applies to music too.
Yes.
Because I'm the first one to tell people when they say, well, what about jazz? I said, listen, you got to remember what the heritage is. Jazz and blues both originate in slave song. Okay, now the second you say that, people are like, oh, come on, man, don't go there.
Yep.
But that's just a fact of the matter. That's just the legacy and the heritage of the music. I love being in smooth jazz, but that's one of the problems I have with it is because when smooth jazz first came about, there was a company called Broadcast Architect that did surveys out in Los Angeles and said, and gathered like thousands of people in a theater and said, okay, tell me what you liked about this music. And the feedback that kept coming back was, well, we like it, but it's too quote unquote urban, unquote. Okay. Now we all know what that means.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that is, in my opinion, a lot of this music has been an attempt to de-blackify the sounds. And I got serious problems with that. That's why you hear, less and less and less of, George Benson and Najee, but like more and more and more of Boney James and I'm not saying anything against these artists, but that's just where it's at. It's like, this makes people more quote unquote comfortable. Okay. And I'm just not about making you comfortable. I'm about being me, I'm you want to call it wokeism or call it whatever call it what you want to call it. But, I'm just being me, and I'm not going to go back to the era of having to put, two white ladies on the cover in order to sell my record. I'm not going back to that era. I'm walking as far away from that era as I possibly can. So that's and that's where we're at politically today too. It's like anything that brings up the true history of who built this nation, who built DC, who's involved in the sciences and math, anything like that. It's like, well, let's just leave sleeping dogs lie. Let's not ruffle up that past. So that's my sermon on smooth jazz and wokeism. And
when y'all did Jamaica Funk, looking at the video, it looked like y'all was just having fun, just playing around.
Yep.
But the finished product was like gold.
Yeah.
It's like, so everybody knows the song. Soon as they hear that trumpet, the walls of Jericho don't fall. But but I would tell you, everybody would hit the floor.
Yeah.
The bass line start.
I will always thank God for that opportunity to do that and still have it as popular as it is. It's a blessing and a curse. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, because it's so popular that I won't say I can't get away from it, but I mean, if I try to play a concert without playing that song, it ain't gonna be pretty. The results ain't gonna be pretty. I mean, I tried that one time, and yeah, it took me a week to heal from that.
And
Mm,
and,
mm,
and that was
mm.
like over in somewhere in Russia. They
Yeah.
they didn't know the words. They just
Yeah,
know,
where
where's the song? Where's
where
the song?
where you they said you know play Jamaica funk, you get the hell out of here.
Let me ask you this: with you being up in Queens, how and you being born in the 50s, how did hip hop music how did it inject into you when you heard it? When you first heard it, and how did it impact you or unimpact you years later?
I always found, I mean, and I'm very limited in that. I'm just gonna be honest, in that, in the depth of my knowledge of hip hop. But from what I heard, it was approaching music and rhythmically and spoken word in the same way that jazz was. It was trying to emulate what was actually going on in hometown. In the same way that like bebop and jazz, people say, oh, bebop, what's bebop about? Well, if it was about cops and their nightsticks, that's what was swing about. It was the same reflective of an era thing with hip hop. My problem with hip hop was that too many people have died for verbiage. Too many people have died in order to suppress the negativity of calling our ladies certain terms or calling our men certain terms that white folk of old got used to saying, and then a lot of them are still used to saying, and to just normalize it. I have a problem with that, because even though the concept is, well, man, it's just part of our cultures. Yeah, but what comes out of your mouth comes out of your heart, and what comes out of your heart is what you truly think of yourself. So I have problems with a lot of the verbiage. I wish almost hip hop could be just instrumental in some ways. I mean, instrumental music, because then I could relate to that aspect of it. But because it is such a powerful vehicle in conveying spoken word, I would just pray to God that spoken word would be something that builds us up rather than tears us down. If that makes sense.
Beautifully said.
And when the origins of it weren't like that. I mean, originally when it came out, it was it was spoken word in a new form, and talking about what's going on and how community has to, but somehow the record company got involved in it, and it became a positive to degrade us, a positive to speak against our own people, and I just can't go with it. I can't, man. I can't go with it. Well, see, I'd have my own. If I had to create a smooth jazz list, who'd be on it? Roy Ayers.
He was here last year. They brought him last year.
Yeah, Roy Ayers, Lonnie Liston Smith, Grover Washington.
Okay.
They were smooth jazz before it was called smooth jazz. So that's just where I'm coming from. I'm not taking nothing against new folks.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you can't cut the trail to the past off and just say it starts here. It just doesn't. It just doesn't.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Single. We appreciate it.
Give them your website. Give them your website.
Oh, yeah. You can find me at www.tombrowne.org, TOMBROWNE.org, or on Facebook at Tom Browne Jamaica Funk, which I gotta include Jamaica Funk in whatever I do. So it's Tom Browne Jamaica Funk on Facebook.
Are you on Instagram? Your Instagram page is
I,
there?
I don't even know my. Wait a minute. Let me see if I have my Instagram address. Well, I think if you go on Facebook, it'll tie. It's got
It's all right.
Instagram up there also.
Okay.
I got someone that manages all those sites. They post stuff for me. They put up inappropriate photos and all kinds of stuff for me. So just, I'll see something up there and go, what the hell, man? you know,
Nah, that's a picture of Tom now. Now he with 3 women. What the heck? His wife comes waking
and
up.
and, and that's why I'm serious. I play a concert. That's the first question I ask. I said, do not put this on Facebook. Do not, because my wife is from Dominican Republic, and first thing she did is paint a dotted line across the bottom of my neck right here, that can be severed at any time. So yeah, I gotta watch what goes on Facebook and all that stuff, man. Shoot. if she starts speaking to me in Spanish, I know I got some serious problems for her. I know I better pick up that trumpet and go in the back room. Uh-oh.
Who is going to behead you?
Oh, my wife just got, hey, Martha. Come on in. Come on.
Phone call to me. I heard about the line around your neck, sir.
She okay. Gentlemen, I will announce my funeral date.
Well, I know one thing, Tamika. T. We'll be getting interviewed. We were the last people to talk
to. He was an ordinary guy.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. I mean, taking out the time for this. So I'm gonna hold you to it, man. I hope you can come out, sir.
I'm gonna try and make that. I'm gonna try and make that.
I'm just gonna be like smiling from east to west. I'm like, he came.
Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Browne.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Browne.
Hey, what's happening? This is Tom Jamaica Funk Browne, and you listen to Music My Way with DJ Lady Jock on 88.1 KDHX in St. Louis. What's happening, my jazzy peeps? Tom Jamaica Funk Browne with you, and you're on Traveling at the Speed of Sound with the Time Traveler, Gee Whiz, on 88.1 KDHX in St. Louis.